Hi, everybody. It is Phoebe once again talking to you again today. Most people knew me as Pinky, which was and is same the little girl who lived in New Amsterdam and with her grandmother. Now, that aspect of her life, she's not quite ready to talk about yet, but it says that when we are too much upon her, squeezing her, she kind of have to have a way of throwing these things off of her before actually getting back on track. But it shows that food, okay, that kind of can actually control an aspect of her is well they're stirring, bickering at her too much. Now, can I say that they have different kinds of ambitions to get to the top? Perhaps they do. Some of them wants to be plugged into her literally, and others wants to become that Woody factor in her. Now, it's not up to me to say cannot or cannot be C. We have already laid out that foundation at the bottom. So when we rise, it means it has to maintain its kind of the flow of the diamonds upon her glasses. Now, she she often feels so kind of like smooth at her throat. So when that is continuous, she can get a little worried for the next lightings or the next plugins or the next swerve curve or the next red intentions, the red's warning. So she would say, well, I talked about the roof, the ceiling yesterday, and the ceiling is being cautioned. So when it's being cautioned, it means that she consulted her glasses, her diamond glasses, and her glasses says, okay, are you feeling a bit bored today? And I would say, I don't think I am, because based on my sheetings, it is quite clean. But I did have some orange juice before coming upstairs from having breakfast in the dining area. Now, when that happens, it says that you have to become a little child again before you rise. That's what the orange juice would say. So I would say, well, a minute, I kind of chopped up that aspect of me by becoming a little homeless, see, in a international land, meaning a land that you're not supposed to be caught that way, knowing that the hands of this left hand has been declared, has been used to section, to kind of navigate. It navigates. So when that happens, I would say, okay, when I had a sip of the orange juice, I quickly went into the bathroom and I had a little sweat, like when the plane is landing, it often, and then it levels off and then it landed safely. And then I would come back and I would kind of tap my boobs and I would say, whoa, you are not feeling the way it felt when I woke up. So what happened there is that my diamond glasses got very scared and decided to say that, okay, well, your lightings were not on, were off. And when it was off, it suspected that you were pretty much in a very connecting basis as you slept. And when you were, your Zeus's and pillows were safely moving forward. So when that's the case, you kind of feel like, okay, I just want to sleep all day. Now, when my box, which is my box, is actually being circulated at, it actually is used to come straight to my heart and then cause a kind of oval spiring sensation to come on, which takes care of my connectivity, which takes care of my computer, which takes care of my phone and my my diamond glasses, my woody characteristics, and my shakiness, so that my pillow would be nicely staged. Now, when I get to my computer, my MacBook Pro, in other words, I noticed that the lights were a bit dim, and which is like a funny thing. So perhaps I need to get into the control power. But when I left it last night, anyway, I just plugged in there, and it still seems a little dim. So I was saying perhaps the aspect of the orange juice was very provocative. Now, when I look up, I can see creases there, creases, but those creases were not plug bushed, were not nicely sealed. So if it's not nicely sealed, then I cannot permit any kind of a swirl and behavior to be visually seen, I would say, visually seen. Okay, so people are under constant move go giving away. They call it throwaway. Okay, so when that's the case, well, they obviously depends on the things that I'm doing, the things that I'm pouring into to help to keep things going. Now, when these things are of a wrapped up tidy basis, then I could possibly say I can sit and have a nice tea, and I can use the aspect on Phoebe to get to do so. In other words, now what I can do now is put on my diamond glasses, and I would say, well, I think that I have probably calm the things of nature down. Now, why would I want to do so when I do have my glass, my mirror back? When my mirror was was there, even while I was sitting in the Station de Bordeaux and the Station of Gare de Lyon, for example, and I was actually cleaning these things up by myself to show that nature is of that mug right there. And that's why this establishment will probably keep turning as the creases decides to cover themselves up. Now, when this is done, then I would say sheets that are clean, not because when this is done, it kind of dirties up the place and the surroundings. So I did a complete heck, okay, over to the board, and I said, you all you dirt stay there until I can get to the bottom of the mirror, and says, okay, I want you to scan these things right here, and I want you to bring it right here because I'm heading over to the United States Embassy right now to see what I can do with my money matters. So when that is done, then I can put it inside of my connectivity, and my connectivity says, okay, use your pinky to dine and wine today. Do not use any other aspects because we are into stealing. So, with that being said, I can clearly say, put the glasses on, okay, and that's when I noticed, okay, it was. So the connectivity could have said, okay, I want you to see on this level, and that's why it's there for that purpose. So when that happens, can you actually go to the ophthalmologist and says, I want this? You possibly cannot, because it's determined by these kind of reflexes. Now, when that was determined, it means that her vision can possibly come down a bit more to say that she would always need glasses on her face. So when that happened, the Zeus's of these things says, okay, no need for us to be hanging around these things anymore because of the hands of the left hand of Phoebe, but there are questions to be answered, such as, if thou goest blind by the nations of people, how do you react? Well, for example, when you see a glass like that, you're not going to know what's in there. See, you're going to say, give me some orange juice. So the orange juice would give that to me, but if it's in there, I will not see it, okay? But if it's in there, I would, and that's why those things are of Phoebe and communicates with Phoebe, and so is the the outlet, these things that she will be able to see these things. The computer in this format, no, especially after it was touched by the hands of those Afros types. But she would be able to see these things because they are easily dirtied. And she says, what is this? Clean that up. It's not good. Now, when it comes to her here now, she will have her own style, meaning that it will be as she is now. It will be of a different style, meaning that it would even have another color in there, and it would be more of a tissue kind when that time has come. Now, we're not to ask it why. We just have to say sometimes the nations of people will choose to keep her small but to blind her eye. But she would probably need to have people taking care of her. So how do we change the mindset of our kids? Those were depictions. Yes, no, those were real life events. And in all of the things that was done, there was no evidences of blindness seen. There was evidence of blindness on Phoebe only, unless Phoebe gets herself settled in her chair and ready for connectivity. So people are probably thinking of not allowing financial flow to be able to pay her ticket. So there's an emergency situation there. And you've heard that before. Now, when that would come, you would go to Zeus and says, are you ready to be taken up to be to the Lord? Because you're not behaving yourself. You're the one who caused her to get pics now. There has been a wood running around that when she gets to this point, we will hurt her that way, and there's nothing she can do. Now, when that would happen, he would maintain it instead of doing it once, and the person is seeking help quickly. So he is saying that he wants to find it. We cannot give that person over into your hands. And yet, we perhaps have to give it over when the person is of a certain age so that they will learn to number their days. Now, when he would have heard that, he would say, I'll be darned. But it's a very hurtful. It's not hurtful when you get to the source of the issue, but it cannot stop you from moving forward. And that's going to teach him when you want evil. It cannot stop until the job is done. Now, it permits when she gets to the embassy, if you provoke, that can come to pass. But you too would have outdone yourself in the land of another with fine milk and honey and cheeses, in other words, and even Zeus is upon your pillows, and therefore one day you would have to face that wood that has been chosen to repair the damages of this girl's account. From 8 to 3 for them, it's a problematic because they cannot get her loan, and they, based on that factor, she had quite enough. Now they understand that if they go about and wear ands whats or what ifs, it means that they were part of that challenge, which should not have been, to get a wild and open free person that we have today. But it means that she probably would have developed a more milder and delicate person, and they're wondering if they can get her back to that so she can dine with the most fine and wine and transmit those gifts that she's holding for French people. Now, French people cannot be covetous, so we have to dig a little deep before I stop to find out what gifts am I holding. The gift of orange juice. So they would say, I'll be darned. So are you asking me? I am not asking you. I'm telling you. Such as everybody else, so that it can be mixed in and be told what to do. Can I say that it consists of a mirror? See, it does. And the mirror will tell you exactly what you're looking for in the future. Now, the village chaplain and his mama who was there, did they go with me? They absolutely did. But I would say the same also. I would say perhaps they learned how to control boxes and even more there. And just extend the meaning of connected in fact, transmit things. Now, the universe is probably not intentionally looking for darker skinned people. So I wouldn't suggest for certain tribes to get giddy giddy. That's what they're hoping and waiting for. It will always be a challenge to us and through Phoebe, and a challenge through the pup and to identify exactly what we're looking for. So it permits the things that are after her to become very feeble and wonderful, wonderfully wonderful, to say, well, we'll be darned. We don't know exactly what they're looking for. Perhaps they're just looking for a special wood today to say, I will take it and beat your head in with it, because we were concerned about the outbursts that she had in Bordeaux type and the own, and saying that she's extremely rude and beside herself, whereas that woman yesterday faced her in that fierce matter, and other people are trying to face her that way now, but taking care of themselves. But the more you do, the more your Zeus's attaches to your pillows, and when they do, they're seeking vengeance for the little girl. So do we have a connectivity problem with the girl? Absolutely, for this one. So she needs to get down there today and take care of her private matters, and then she can say, how do I get back? But they're asking for a ticket to be able to get back there. So she's going to have phones that are plugged in properly. She's have to have recorders that are working properly so that she is able to transmit that information Tuesday, April 26th at 11:28 p.m. To the orange juice type of people. How does the connectivity work for herself and not for you? Because we have realized that you guys want to be the most powerful, though, and it's probably what was according to you from the beginning of time will allow you to approach at her bed Zeus's, so she would not sleep. This is what we were doing, and when that job has been accomplished by getting to this point, we would say, have you accomplished that task? And they would say, we have, but when we see the results, we would want it back for ourselves. So the universe would laugh out loud and says, ha ha ha, I'll be darned.